Hey guys, this is what I look like when I've been studying for an exam all week and don't really care about how I look because my brain hurts. Welcome to my floor and to my Percy Jackson Sea of Monsters review. Starts off, Percy was actually having a normal year of school for once in his magical existence. Amazing. He even managed to make a friend whose name is Tyson, and Tyson had been, I guess, adopted by the school as a project. He's a homeless person that lives in the city in a box, in a refrigerator box. And everyone kind of makes fun of him because he seems kind of dumb and he's large and scraggly looking, and this academy is filled with rich kids. And Percy befriends him, and they're like biffles. So on the last day of school, of course, the light at the end of the tunnel, something weird has to happen. So Percy awakes from a dream where Grover is running from a monster and hides in a dress shop. He wakes up all disoriented, and his mom's like, "Oh my god, what's wrong?" And so he goes, "Mom, I had this dream about Grover, and it's really weird." And she gets all like, "We'll talk about it later." So he's like, "Well, shit." But he's still excited because the next day he gets to go to Camp Half-Blood and be home and safe and see Annabeth and Chiron and everyone he loves, who I called in my last video Chiron. Incorrect. Bad me. Either way, so he gets to school and the big bully is being bully-ish, an asshole, and he has like this new group of people who are apparently visiting students, but they're not. At gym class, these students and Percy engage, as well as the main bully, engage in an epic dodgeball battle where we find out that these visiting kids are not kids. Oh no, why would they be Rick Riordan? They are, because he had to change his clothes. Turns out that Tyson has some badass skills, and then Annabeth pops out of nowhere because she's wearing her magical hat. She pops out and is like, "Hey, we gotta go." She sees Tyson. She's like, "Where did you find that?" After Percy is able to grab Riptide from the locker room, and Tyson helps slay these Lastrygonians, which confuses the shit ton out of Percy. They take this cab, magical, mythical, whatever you'd like to call it, to Camp Half-Blood, where Percy learns some very important numbers, which, because I'm bad with numbers, slightly dyslexic, and just plain terrible at math, I had to write down. And the numbers are 30, 31, 75, 12. See, I couldn't even memorize 4 numbers. Math. Nope. Nope. So 30, 31, 75, 12. Magical. So everything has changed at Camp Half-Blood. When they get there, Clarice is attempting to fight off a monster, and apparently monsters have been all up in this camp and attacking left and right, and the magical border that protects the camp is weakening because Talia's tree has been poisoned. Shiitake mushrooms. And Dionysus, for whatever reason, a reason unbeknownst to us at this point, they blame Chiron for poisoning the tree, which Percy cannot fathom, but everyone kind of like skirts around it a little bit. Chiron is blamed, fired, and replaced by this guy named Tantalus. Now, Tantalus was damned and punished to the underworld to stand by a glorious apple tree and a river in a beautiful meadow and not be able to eat a thing. So a funny thing I found in the book where he's being such a jerk, and every time he tries to eat, which is something he really wants, anytime he tries to eat the delicious camp food, it runs away from him. So, ha! Tantalus. And Dionysus is like, refers this guy to Chiron because while Chiron is nice and benevolent and actually enjoys his job, Dionysus hates it and sees it as a punishment, which it is because he... So Tantalus doesn't enjoy this any more than Dionysus does, so they get on really well. Tantalus is also kind of like he's not nice. You get a bad feeling. Also at Camp Half-Blood, we discover that Tyson is not your average 6 foot something gawky, awkward preteen, but in fact, a baby Cyclops. Oh yes. And not only that, he is claimed as a son of Poseidon. So Percy is a little unhappy to find out that he has a Cyclops for a brother, because everyone, at least a half-brother, because everyone really makes fun of him for that, and quite unjustly, but so he's not too crazy about that. And to make matters worse, Percy has been having these wild and crazy dreams about Grover, and it turns out that Grover established what's called an empathy link, which means Percy and him are kind of connected so they can talk through dreams. Grover says while on his quest for Pan, he was brought to this island that smelts like Pan, but is actually an island where the evil giant Polyphemus has taken him captive, believing that Grover is actually a female Cyclops and they're going to be married. So Grover is basically playing off his impending doom by pulling a Penelope by saying, when I finish this wedding dress, we'll be married. Now, Penelope in the Odyssey said when she finished this tapestry, she'll give up on Odysseus. And so every night after working on it all day long, she would undo the threads. That is what Grover is doing with the veil of the dress. He just keeps pushing it off. So he tells Percy that he only has a certain amount of time to get to the island, and he mentions that the reason the island smells so great is because it has the one thing Camp Half-Blood needs. Percy tells this to Tantalus and to Dionysus because Tantalus has some giant stick up his butt, or maybe a trident. He gives the quest not to Percy and Annabeth, who told him about this whole thing, but to the latest winner of a chariot race. And who is that winner? Clarice. Great. But Percy's feeling all down in the dumps about this. He goes to sit out and watch the water on the Long Island Sound, because being near water makes the son of Poseidon feel much better about things. And who comes along but Hermes? Yes, Luke's father. That just makes me think it must have been so much fun, like, for Luke to be claimed by Hermes, because it's all like, Hermes can be like, Luke, I am your father. I wonder if the gods have seen Star Wars. Who knows? Harrison Ford is probably a demigod. Who's his father? God knows, but we know who Luke's is. Sorry, I cracked myself up. Anyway, so Hermes comes to Percy and confronts Percy and gives him, Annabeth, and Tyson the supplies to go on this long quest to save not only Grover and the Golden Fleece, which is the only thing that could save Camp Half-Blood, but to also try and save Luke as well. And thus begins the journey to the Sea of Monsters, aka the Bermuda Triangle. Alright, let's talk about characters. I loved Tyson right from the beginning. I knew there was something different about him, and that's what I initially liked about Rick Riordan's writing style. Reader clues that sum things up right before he gives the main character. So I love that, and I think Tyson is an absolutely wonderful character. Not only does his addition give an obvious meaning to the plot, he also helps make Percy a better character and make Percy a better person. I also like the depth that was given to Luke and to Annabeth. I really enjoyed the scenes I really felt the scene with the sirens was quite powerful. And I'm very curious. Annabeth mentions that her downfall is her hubris, and she warns Percy to find out what his is and to find how to combat it. So I'm really interested to see what Percy's is. I have a few thoughts going on in my head, but I'm not going to share them because they're probably very wrong. Also, Clarice. I really enjoyed the depth that they gave her, because you see her confrontation with her father Ares, and I enjoyed not just seeing her as a two-dimensional aggressive jerkface, but I enjoyed seeing her as an actual, I was about to say human being, an actual demigod with feelings and backstory and desires and hopes and dreams and all that jazz, and I really actually learned not to necessarily like her character, because her character's still an asshole, but I guess to appreciate her character a little bit more. All in all, I really, really enjoyed this book. Another 5 out of 5 stars for Rick Riordan. I did like The Lightning Thief more. I think I just have a thing for beginnings. Like, my favorite Harry Potter book is hands down The Sorcerer's Stone. I feel like the first book, when you're introduced to all of these things, is the most magical and the most, it's the start. So you have some sort of, I guess, deep emotional attachment to it. I really liked this book, and I liked that it kind of mimicked the Odyssey a little bit. I thought the book's reference to nobody from the Odyssey with Polyphemus was, I started cracking up right away. That was one of my favorite scenes in the Odyssey, and believe me, the Odyssey we read it in 10th grade, and it was we read it in 9th grade, and it was definitely not my favorite, but I did enjoy it, because I've always had this thing for Greek mythology. But the nobody scene with Polyphemus was definitely my favorite scene, so I love that they had like a reprise of nobody. And I also really enjoy, as I mentioned, Rick Riordan, or Uncle Rick's ability to pull everything in and make a huge picture, and I guess like put a frame around it so it's all connected. But then I guess going from The Lightning Thief to now The Sea of Monsters, it's like he took the frame off and extended it and then put another frame around it. So it's all in the same picture, but it's all connected and it's all one. Even though I can definitely say I like The Lightning Thief more, I still love this book. Still 5 out of 5 stars for brilliant plot, masterful technique, amazing characters, and wonderful character development, and an awe-inspiring trip into the Sea of Monsters. So Lilo and I would just like to say thank you so much for watching my videos. I really, really, really appreciate it. And if you could hit like and subscribe, that'd be totally awesome. And you'll see me really soon. Bye!